Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys and assembled company, welcome those who are with us live, like the Babassi in Washington, D.C., and Lucy Anderson Wood in Hertford. I think it's Hertfordshire. I'm not sure. It's and and Terry Lott. Where are you, Terry?
Ohio.
Ohio, down the road from Florida, then. A mere hop, skip, and a jump.
Up the road from Florida.
So we'll start with you in Ohio, pass through Washington D.C. on the way south to Florida, where we will meet the amazing, the fantastic, the stupendous Debra Weller for 45 minutes of marvelous stories.
Thank you. Well, I'm so delighted to be here today. It is the new month of March, and so many things happen in March. We have St. Patrick's Day for sure, World Storytelling Day, World Book Day. It's all about stories. The month of March is filled with stories. So now I wish to thank everyone who is here today and those who will come on later to enjoy the storytelling, and gratitude toward World Storytelling Cafe. And World Storytelling Day is March 20th. And the theme is deep waters. How's that? Well, now I'm going to get started. And some of my favorite tales. I've been to schools and preschools this week, and I want to know, I have my friend Terry Lott on here. We were able to meet in person last year in January when she came to the Florida Storytelling Festival. And Terry and I often wear wonderful hats. And now may the stories begin. I want to tell you a story, spin you a yarn, take you on a magic trip here and beyond. Bring your imagination and a happy smile. Please gather round, sing along, listen for a while. Well, we know that spring is starting to show. I've seen those little dewdrops cropping up. The birds are starting to mate and sing, and soon the baby birds will be born. So now I want to share with you a little story about 5 little flowers. It is called a finger play, and finger plays are used a lot in early childhood education. They're for language development, and they're also for counting and rhyming. And here we have our 5 little flowers. 5 little flowers growing in a row. The first one said, "I'm purple, you know." The second one said, "I'm as pink as can be." The third one said, "I'm blue as the sea." The fourth one said, "I'm a very yellow fellow." And the fifth one said, "Yes, my color is yellow." And the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little flowers smiled in delight. Are you going to be planting any flowers in your garden? I am thinking about that. So cup your hand like this. I'll plant a little seed in the dark, dark ground. Out comes the yellow sun, big and round. Down comes the cool rain, soft and slow. Up comes the little seed, grow, grow, grow. What would you grow in your garden? Well, I live in Florida, and I live near the potato and the cabbage capital of the United States. Did you know there was a cabbage capital or a potato capital? It is Hastings, Florida. And when I drive past those areas, I see the cabbage growing. And I love seeing all that greenness. And so today I'm bringing you another version of the gingerbread boy, but it's going to be the Cabbage Patch Man. And my friend Louie is on now. It's great to see you, Louie. I'm so glad you arrived just in time for the story, and I see Terry put on a hat for the occasion. Once upon a time, in the state of Florida, there was a big cabbage field, and the farmers and his wife said, what should we plant today, and what will we harvest? Well, I think we should plant our potatoes today, said the farmer, but we need to harvest the cabbage. And so they went out into the field and they cut the cabbage. And when they did, they looked at that head of cabbage and said, oh, it's kind of cute. Maybe we could make it into a little cabbage head man. So they brought the cabbage in the kitchen and they made a little body for the cabbage and a little vest and some boots. Could he be a leprechaun? Oh, perhaps. But he's now the Cabbage Patch Man. And when they had assembled all the parts together, that Cabbage Patch Man began to dance around the kitchen. And it danced and it danced and it sang, ha, 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 he, you can't catch me. I'm the Cabbage Patch Man, running as fast as I can. Ha, 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 he, you can't catch me. I'm the Cabbage Patch Man, and I'll run away as fast as I can. And the farmer and his wife said, oh, stop, Cabbage Patch Man. But that Cabbage Patch Man said, no, I'm on my way through the field. What will I see today? And he ran, and he ran, and he ran until he came to a cow. The cow sniffed that Cabbage Patch Man. Moo! Can I eat you up? I am so hungry for some cabbage. And that cabbage head man said, no, you can't. I can run away from you just like I ran away from the man and the woman at the farmhouse. And off he went. I'm the Cabbage Patch Man, and I'll run as fast as I can. And I'm running, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran. And he ran away as fast as he could. Well, by and by, as he was running through the field, he came to a pig. And the pig said, oh, I love cabbage. Won't you come a little closer, Cabbage Patch Man, because I want to sniff you? And the Cabbage Patch moved a little closer and looked at that pig and said, you can't catch me, little piggy. I ran away from the farmer and his wife. I ran away from the cow. And I can surely run away from you. I can. And that Cabbage Patch Man started running. Yeah, I'm the Cabbage Patch Man, and I'll run as fast as I can. I can. And he ran further into the fields. And by, he came to the swamp. We have swamps in Florida. Now, swamps have murky water. Swamps have trees growing everywhere. The water's so dark you can't see what's under it. And that Cabbage Patch realized, oh, they're all running after me. How am I going to get there? I've got to get to the other side of the swamp before they all catch me. Put me in a pot, add a little bacon, and make some cabbage stew. At that moment, an alligator popped up, Hello, Cabbage Patch Man. Ooh, you be looking good. I think I'm getting ready for some cabbage stew. How about it? Come a little closer, Cabbage Patch. Well, Mr. Gator, I can show you where more cabbages grow if you just let me get to the other side of the swamp, because the farmer and his wife are coming after me. The cow's coming after me. And that pig is coming after me. Did you say a cow and a pig? That could be quite tasty for me. Could you promise me one? Sure, I'll promise you, but you just have to get me across the swamp, won't you, please? They're coming, help me. And the gator said, hey, you Cabbage Patch, you can just crawl on my tail. And if you crawl on my tail, I will take you across the swamp. He looked behind and he saw the farmer and his wife. He saw the cow and he saw the pig coming right to the edge of the swamp. So he leaped on that gator's tail. And that gator went swishy swashy right across the swamp. And as he was coming to the other side of the bank, the Cabbage Patch said, you gotta help me. The water's getting deeper. And if I get all soggy, I won't be very tasty and I can't run. Well, why don't you just climb on my head? So the Cabbage Patch Man, he climbed right on the gator's head. Now that gator, he can smell things from near and from far. And so he smelled that cabbage head man. And that gator, he done flipped around and he ate that cabbage head man. Now, the farmer and his wife saw it and they gasped. Can you gasp? And the pig saw it and squealed. And the cow saw it and she let out a bellow. Moo, moo. Well, the farmer and his wife said, hey, cow, hey, pig, come on over. We've got really nice potatoes to harvest. Why don't you come help us? And I'll make some mashed potatoes with butter that we can all enjoy. And that's exactly what they did. They went back to the farmhouse and they dug up some potatoes. They roasted them, and when they were just right, they mashed them down, put on the butter and the salt and the pepper, and sprinkled even a little cheese on it. And they had cheesy mashed potatoes. Now that gator, he enjoyed eating that cabbage head man. But he can't wait to have a pig or a cow. It's what's going to happen if we make sure we stay away from the swamp.
That was a moving story.
Well, when you live in an area with swamps and cabbage growing, you figure out there's got to be a story there somehow.
When I was out on the airboats, we threw marshmallows into the water to make the gators come up and get them. I never thought of alligators having a sweet tooth, but they came. The old boys knew where the gators were and threw marshmallows in there. And they said to the children, "Don't put your hand in there; they'll think it's fresh chicken."
No, they will, and they do love their chicken for sure. Well, we know that in March, a tricky little leprechaun could be out and about. When I visited in Ireland, I was able to see a sign that said leprechaun crossing. And we might be thinking about those leprechauns in March. John, have you seen any recently? And Baba C, have you seen any? Terry? How about you, Louie? Have you seen any leprechauns recently? And Keith?
No, but I've seen a few trolls.
Those crows are very wise, and the leprechauns are too. Well, one day, there was a very lazy man in Ireland. They always say that there are some of those. And this very lazy man had his wife Eileen. And Eileen came to her lazy husband and said, "My good husband, what are you going to do today? Here we are, we have no food in our larder. Why don't you go out and see if you can find some food?" He said, "But Eileen, I've got to take another nap." Go out now, see what you can find." Well, he wasn't into it, but he started walking on a pathway and he heard a whistling sound. And he said, "Oh, could it be a leprechaun? Maybe I'm going to follow that sound. And the closer I get to it, maybe I'll be lucky and today I can get my pot of gold. Just like the one I'm wearing here." So that man, he walked closer and closer, and the whistling got louder and louder. He came to some tall grass. And when he looked and parted that tall grass, there was a little man dressed in green, wearing a top hat and boots and a vest. And that little man was holding a very delicate little shoe in his hand. And he had a little hammer. And he was singing, "Tap, tap, 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 fixing the shoes. Tap, 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 fixing the shoes. The fairies will go dancing, dancing by the light of the moon. The fairies will go dancing by the light of the moon. Tap, 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 I'm fixing their shoes." And the very laziest man in all of Ireland said, "Oh, it's a leprechaun. It's a leprechaun. And now all I have to do is grab him." So he reached down and he grabbed that leprechaun. And the leprechaun shouted, "Man, what are you doing with me? Let me go, I've got to do my work." He said, "No, I may be the laziest man in all of Ireland, but I've got you, little leprechaun, and you have to show me your gold." Gold? You think that a leprechaun has gold? Oh, I know. And now that I have you, I won't let you go till you show me where your gold is. So the leprechaun said, "Then you'll have to follow me." "Oh, I will, and I won't let go of you." And the leprechaun took off. He went over the hills and down the dales and through the brambles, and the man got thorns all over his pants. And he ran, and he had to stay up with him, holding on never to let him go. And they came to a big field. It was bright green, filled with clovers, growing wild. And that leprechaun found one spot, lifted up his boot, stamped upon the ground, and said, "Man, that's where my gold is." And the laziest man in all of Ireland looked down at the spot. "Can I trust you, little leprechaun?" "I'm telling you, that's where I buried it. A leprechaun always knows where their gold is." "So, man, did you bring a shovel to dig up my gold?" "Oh, He didn't let go of that leprechaun. He said, no, it's back at my cottage. Well, then you better go get it. I've shown you where my gold is. But if I let you go, I don't even have the gold in my hand yet. So the man looked about and he kept one hand on the leprechaun and he picked up a stick and he pounded it into the ground. And with one hand, he took off his red scarf and tied it around that stick. He said, okay, leprechaun, I've marked the spot where your gold is. I guess you've kept your bargain. So I need to set you free. Ha, yes, you do. I've got lots of shoes to mend. And the laziest man in all of Ireland, he thought for a moment. And then he released the leprechaun. And the leprechaun ran off dancing and singing, ho, 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 he, I fooled a man so mighty you see. Ho, 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 he, I fooled a man so mighty you see. And the leprechaun just disappeared. But the laziest man in all of Ireland, he walked back to his cottage and he hoisted his shovel upon his shoulder. And he remembered exactly where to find the field of clover. He came back, and what he saw made him drop the shovel. For now, in that field was not just one stick with a red scarf around it, but 500 sticks with red scarves across the entire field. Oh, I've been duped. I've been tricked by leprechaun magic. But the gold must be here somewhere. And so he dug, dig, dig, dig. No gold. Dig, dig, dig. No gold. Dig, dig, dig. No gold. He dug until sundown, and he had only covered half of the sticks. And then he sat back and realized, I indeed have been tricked. I may be the laziest man in Ireland, but I did grab hold of that leprechaun. I did dig for the gold. But alas, must not be my day to have the gold and to become the richest man in all of Ireland. So March is so busy. Thank you, Louie. Great to see you. Now, as we pass through the spring, we might also think it's a time of growing. And just like the farmer in that first field grew his cabbages, he also grew some potatoes. Now, potatoes do not grow by seeds. They have tubers that grow out of them. And if you've ever had a potato in your pantry that you waited a bit for it to go to be in the pot, it might have sprouted some tubers. Well, this next story is about a potato. In a farm, right, beautiful little farm. It had a house for the family to sleep in, a barn for the cow and the goats, and a chicken coop for the chickens. Now, this farmer was celebrated for growing potatoes, the finest potatoes in all of the land. Everyone would love to get those potatoes. Some were boiled, some were mashed, some were French fried, some were put in stews and chowders, but they had the sweetest flavor of all. And the farmer prided himself on that. Now, as he had already set his tubers into the ground, the potatoes had sprouted their roots. and he had evidence that they were growing beneath that ground. Now, he didn't know exactly how it happened, but there seemed to be a potato growing right beneath the foundation of his house. I've never had a potato growing there. His wife would come out and say, is that the best thing, the best place for a potato to growing, my dear, right under the foundation of our house? I'm worried our foundation might crack. Well, the potato grew and grew and grew, and it became an enormous potato like no one had ever seen. People started coming to the farm because the farmer went into town and he bragged about his enormous potato. And everyone looked because now his house was starting to tilt as the potato was pushing out of the ground. His wife said, oh, we have to pull that one out, even if it's not ready. We can't let it ruin our house. It's all we've got. And the man went out one morning and he put his hands around that potato. And he took that potato and he pulled and he pulled and he pulled. But that potato would not come out of the ground. Good wife, you need to come out here and help me. I'm going to need a lot of help. I can't do it myself. So his wife came out of the house and she held on to her husband's waist. And they pulled and they pulled and they pulled. But alas, the potato would not budge. Oh, what shall we do? Let's call the goat. Certainly the goat could help us. Goat, we need you. What do you need me for? What do you need me for? We're trying to pull the potato out of the ground because the house is starting to tilt. We don't want the foundation ruined. Oh, I see. Well, let me try. So the farmer held on to the potato. The farmer's wife held on to the farmer. And the goat put his hooves right on the farmer's wife's waist. And they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. Oh, but still, that enormous potato did not budge. Oh, the goat thought, oh, I don't know. What shall we do? I don't know. Do you think the cow could come? So they called for the cow. Bessie, we need your help. And Bessie trotted over. Oh, what's the problem here? You see, we can't pull up the potato. Oh, do you want my help? Ooh. So the farmer held on to the potato. The farmer's wife held on to the farmer. The goat had his hooves on the farmer's wife's waist. And Bessie the cow pulled with her mouth on that tiny little stub of a tail of the goat. And they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. But alas, that potato wouldn't budge, and the house was beginning to tilt more. What were they going to do? About that time, a tiny little kitten scurried out of the barn. He hadn't been around too much when he saw there was a problem. He said, meow, I know I'm small. Meow, I know I'm small, but maybe I could help. And the farmer said, but you're really too small. You're just a little kitten. But I'd like to help. Huh. And the farmer's wife said, "Oh, you're too small. Go back in the barn." And the goat said, "You can't do it." And the cow said, "Moo, you're too small. Go play." But the little kitten would not be deterred. "I'm going to help." So the little kitten was ready. The farmer held on to the potato. The farmer's wife held on to the farmer. The goat's hoofs were on the farmer's wife's waist. The cow was taking a nip of the goat's short tail. And that little tiny kitten grabbed a hold of the cow's leg. And they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled, and whoa! Out popped that enormous potato. No one could believe that the little kitten had made the difference. "See, meow, I can do it, I can do it." But they didn't expect what would happen next. Because the house was on a hill, that enormous potato started rolling down the hill from the farmer's cottage, rolling across the other farmers' properties, and rolling down the lane that had those stone fences. And it started rolling toward the town, and the people stopped. "Potato on the loose, potato on the loose," until it lodged in the middle of the road. All the people coming south could not get past the potato. All the people coming north could not get past the potato. "I don't know. I'm perplexed. We solved one problem by getting the potato, and now we've blocked the road. Oh, no one can get to market. No one can get to school." And the children started gathering on the south side, and the townspeople started gathering on the north side, all pondering what to do. They pushed and shoved and tried to dislodge it. If another farmer even got an ox and tried to push it, but it wouldn't budge. "Oh, what are we going to do?" The priest even came out of the parish and looked at the problem, and he said a blessing and a prayer that the problem would be solved. And one of the little children said, "Why don't we just cut up that potato in pieces? Then everyone in the town can have a big hunk of that enormous potato." "Oh," thought the farmer, and the priest nodded. "Good idea, good idea." So all the farmers went home. They got their sharpest saws that they could find. And they came back, and the farmers on the north and the farmers on the south started sawing into that enormous potato, and they cut off chunks and set them to the side until there was no big, enormous potato blocking the road. All the people got their wheelbarrows and carts, and each person in the village had a chunk of the potato. And their minds were thinking about what could they make with the potato. At one house, they roasted that potato and just had roasted potatoes with delicious butter. At another house, they chopped up those potatoes into tiny little pieces, put them into the stew pot, poured in some milk and cream, and added the butter and some parsley, brought it to a little bubbly boil, and they had themselves some potato soup. The other cottage, indeed, when they boiled that potato and had chopped it down, when it was done, they mashed them, and added all the delicious fine butter to it. And there was some gravy to put over those mashed potatoes. At another house, they shredded those potatoes, put them in a fry pan, and made hashed brown potatoes. Well, if that might be making you hungry, you might think the next time you see a potato at the store, could it possibly have come from the same farm where the enormous potato was grown? Maybe so. And with that, we've had a cabbage story. We had a potato story, but I think we need to be looking ahead because it's springtime and those baby bunnies are out and about, and we know they're very hungry, just like Peter Rabbit when he wanted to go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Well, this is a little called a call and response song. And whatever I say, then you would say it. Oh, John the Rabbit, got a mighty habit, jumping in my garden, eating up my cabbages, my sweet potatoes, my fresh tomatoes, and if I live to see next fall, there ain't gonna be no cotton at all. And of course, we can't be thinking about rabbits now without the infamous Bunny Foo-Foo. So put up your bunny ears. You got them, and we are ready to have little Bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest. I'm loving all the comments. You're making me laugh. Here we go. Little Bunny Foo-Foo. Hey, Louis, do you have your rabbit up? I need to see it. Little Bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Little Bunny Foo-Foo, if you don't behave, I will turn you into a goon. But little Bunny Foo-Foo didn't care. The very next day, little Bunny Foo-Foo came out, and the little fairy warned him, I'll give you just 3 chances to behave. Little Bunny Foo-Foo didn't care. So he came again. Little Bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Foo-Foo, I don't want to see you picking up those field mice and bopping them on the head. I'll give you 2 more chances. If you don't behave, I will turn you into a goon. That didn't faze little Bunny Foo-Foo. The very next day, little Bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. Down came the good fairy, and she said, Little Bunny Foo-Foo, I do not want to see you picking up the field mice and bopping them on the head. I'll give you 1 more chance. If you don't behave, I will turn you into a goon. Little bunny Foo-Foo didn't care. The next day, little bunny Foo-Foo hopping through the forest, picking up the field mice and popping them on the head. Down came the good fairy. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he's doing it. I told him to stop, but he didn't. Little bunny Foo-Foo, I don't want to see you picking up the field mice and popping them on the head. I gave you 3 chances and you didn't behave. So now I'm going to have to turn you into a goon. Little bunny Foo-Foo just stood there smiling. And with that, she waved her arms, she cast her fairy spell, and poof! Show me your goon faces. The moral of this story is hair today and goon tomorrow. I have a goodbye song to sing with you. I want to thank all of our friends who joined in, and Louie too. I wish you a very happy springtime that will eventually come to some cold places of the world, like Ohio. And hoping for all of you to rejoice in the coming of spring. I thank the World Storytelling Cafe, John, our host, Louie joining in, and all of you who will watch in the future, and all of you who watch now. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I'll be on my way. You listen well to my stories today. I want to thank you and to say goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I hope to see you soon again someday. Hey, Louie, I love your ukulele. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Deborah. I think a huge round of applause for Debra Weller. Not only the stories and the songs, but the pot of gold and the rainbow. I think everyone should walk around, given the state of the world right now, I think a pot of gold and a rainbow on all our heads would be a positive move. Thank you, Louie. Thank you, Keith. And while I've got Keith on the screen, I need to point out that next Friday we have the inimitable Keith Rogers from Wolverhampton, who is our Friday teller. So we go from Florida to Wolverhampton. I passed by very near there yesterday as I was coming down the A41, I think, or something, down from Liverpool or down from Kirby, where I've been for World Book Day at the school up there. I've been all around the country this week. Anyway, but before Keith, I need to mention that on Sunday, should anyone be around at 6 o'clock UK time, there is the World Storytelling Cafe worldwide story round, hosted by none other than Mike Rust. So hope to see you there. And Louis wants to say something. Yes, Louis. Unmute yourself.
I'm not doing this telling for like 2 weeks' time. I'm not.
You'll be on Friday.
I'll be on next Friday, but not week after.
Okay. Well, we will miss you, Louis, but have a good time whatever you're doing.
I will.
Are you doing something wonderful?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Well, in that case, that is magnificent. Right. Well, and on that, on Louis' good news, we will say goodbye to everyone.
John, this Sunday, the United States goes forward 1 hour. Does that mean we're 4 hour difference or 6 hours difference?
Look it up on Google.
Yeah. It will be 6 hours temporarily until the UK switches to their thing. No, it'll be 4. Oh, you're right. Okay, I got it messed up. 4. Awesome. Thank you for correcting.
Thank you.
Right. We don't need Google. We've got Deborah.
Today, Deborah tomorrow.
Terry, would you like to come up with an alternative? As we see.
No.
You concur, do you? You
Been through
concur.
this time change before. I know how to calculate it.
4
Right.
hours. 4.
Okay. Me, I whatever I do, I get it an hour the wrong way. So I tend to go Google. I put so and so in UK. Where is it? And wherever I am. So
I'm not gonna say I use Google a lot, but the last time I Googled, it went, "You again?"
yeah. Okay. Right. We are degenerating into some kind of childish thing, and anyone would think this was a program for children, right? Well, fairly well, everyone, and have a great week. I hope to see you all on some of you on Sunday. Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys. Oh, thank you,
Bye.
Deborah.
Thank you,
Bye,
Deborah.
Louie.
Bye.
I
Bye.
love
Thank you.
But now
Thank
I'm-
Bye.
now
Bye.
Bye,
I'm-
Bobby.
Yay, Louie!
Hey, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, Louie. A few challenges, but hey, that's life. But I'm so glad to see you. You always brighten up my day.
Thank you. And I got some news. I turned 18 like
I know.
a month ago.
What date exactly was your birthday?
The 21st.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry I missed your birthday. I think I was sick that
That's
day.
okay.
But I'm happy. Welcome to the world of adulthood.
Thank
It's
you,
not everything it cracks up to be.
Definitely helps.
man.
Is that your mom in the room?
Yes, that's right now, right
Is
here.
there a way that Louie and I can talk on Facebook?
Yeah, I will. I'll befriend you.
Yeah.
It'll be under the name of Jackie Lewis.
All right. So on me, the best way is to do the one that says Lorenzo Calendar. That's my not so secret identity.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks a lot. And Gooey. Gooey. The best of best to you and your mom. You guys always brighten up my day. Thank you for being the wonderful people that you are. To be continued.
I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Next time.
See you.